Hard work didn't get you here, and fate didn't either. That's the lie nobody wants to admit. Because if this is true, then most of your life wasn't even in your control. And that's uncomfortable. You were raised to believe one of two things. Work hard enough, and life will reward you. Or everything is already written, so just accept it. But what if both of these are incomplete? What if both of these are traps? Let's start with the one people worship the most: hard work. You've heard it your whole life. Keep grinding. Stay consistent. Hard work beats everything. And it sounds good. It feels powerful. Because it gives you control. It tells you, if I just push harder, I'll get there. But look around. There are people working 12 hours a day, still stuck, still broke, still invisible. And then there are people who barely try, and somehow things just fall into place. Now, most people ignore this, because admitting it breaks the illusion. It forces you to face a brutal reality. Effort does not guarantee outcome. You can do everything right and still lose. And deep down, you already know this. That's why sometimes you feel frustrated, even when you're doing everything correct. Because life doesn't operate on fairness. It never did. So when people realize this, they swing to the other extreme. The fate trap. They say, everything is fate. It's already written. What's meant for me will come. And again, it sounds peaceful, almost wise, because now you don't have to struggle anymore. You don't have to carry responsibility. But look closer. This mindset doesn't bring peace. It brings passivity. It slowly turns into avoiding effort, justifying inaction, hiding behind destiny. Because if everything is already decided, then why try? Why push? Why suffer? This is where people start lying to themselves. They call it acceptance, but it's really surrender. The truth that no one likes. So if hard work is unreliable and fate becomes an excuse, then what actually controls your life? Here's the part nobody likes. You don't control outcomes, but you are responsible for your direction. Read that again, because this is where most people get confused. They think control means results. It doesn't. Control means what you choose to do, despite uncertainty. You don't control who gets lucky, who gets opportunities, who gets recognized. But you do control how you respond, how you act, how you show up every day. And that difference changes everything. Now, most of you are thinking, if I don't control the outcome, then what's the point of trying? Fair question. But that question itself reveals the problem. Because you were never taught to value effort for what it builds. You were taught to value it only for what it gives. And that's why you feel lost when results don't come. Because your entire identity was attached to the outcome. Here's the shift. You don't work hard because it guarantees success. You work hard because of what it turns you into. A man who can handle failure, a man who doesn't break under pressure, a man who keeps moving even when nothing is certain. That's power. Because outcomes are fragile. They change. They disappear. They were never yours to begin with. But who you become, that stays. And ironically, that's the thing that increases your chances anyway. Not because life owes you something, but because you've become someone who's ready when opportunity shows up. And now, let's redefine fate. Fate is not your excuse. Fate is the environment. It's the starting point you didn't choose. It's the randomness of life. Some people start ahead. Some start behind. That's real. But your response to that, that's where your life is shaped. Not perfectly, not fairly, but meaningfully. So the debate ends here. It was never hard work versus fate. That was the wrong question. The real question is, who do you become when neither guarantees anything? Because that's where your life is actually decided. Not in certainty, not in comfort, but in uncertainty. Maybe your life was never fully in your hands. Maybe it never will be. But the way you carry it, the way you respond to it, the way you keep moving, even when nothing is promised, that was always yours, and it still is.